I have been holding out on you. I've got some exciting news. And I've also had a very good week in the sewing room where I've made great progress towards my Easter dress. And I'm ready to get started using my fashion fabric. So let me talk you through where we left off with the Easter dress. I had made a fit muslin for the bodice. And let's see. This was my first fit muslin. And as you remember, if you saw the last video, it was way too short, so I decided to extend the bodice 1.5 inches. I've watched many videos where other makers have extended the bodice 2 inches. I wanted to still sit kind of high, so I went with 1.5 inches just to get it out of my bust. The other thing I needed to adjust was where the shoulder seam was on the sleeve. It was off by about 1.25 inches, I thought. I did a close look and I saw it was off by about 1/8 of an inch in my seam allowance. So I decided to try a narrow shoulder adjustment of 1 inch. Now, this is where having sewing friends comes in handy. My good friend Izzy from Dizzy Quilts and Sews, I know that she does that narrow shoulder adjustment frequently. And I asked her what tutorial did she use, any tips she'd have. And she pointed me to Helen's Closet's blog. And I used that tutorial and made my adjustments. And let me show you the pattern piece. I wish I had kept the pattern piece that I originally tried to adjust because it looked like a dog's breakfast and was pretty unusable after I tried to manipulate it. So what I did was I took and just traced my shoulder piece so that if I messed this up, I wouldn't have to retrace the whole bodice along with bust darts, etc. So I did my manipulation up here, and then I laid this underneath my pattern piece and traced out the adjustments and trued up this area here and came up with another fit muslin pattern piece. And I used that for this one. And I took the sleeve off of the first fit muslin and put it on this one. And I really like where the shoulder seam hits. So I consider this a very big success, and I am ready to sew with my fashion fabric. Now here comes the exciting news for me. I am now a Minerva brand ambassador. This is something that I've been working towards for about 3 years. I've applied, I think 4 times, and I just feel so lucky and fortunate to be selected as a Minerva brand ambassador. Now, this is not a sponsored post. There's no requirement to post on my YouTube channel about Minerva or the brand ambassador program. I just thought I'd let you in on what I am excited about. So as a Minerva brand ambassador, every month there's a call out for fabrics. So there's a huge list of fabrics that I can select from. And I found one that I would love to have in an Easter dress. Let me show you. I was gonna do an unboxing, but I was so excited to feel, touch, wash, and get started on this that I opened it right away. I got the fabric 1 week from when I ordered it, and I have 4 meters of this wide fabric. It is a viscose linen blend, and I just want you to see this drape. The first thing I did was I serged it and I washed it. And I'm glad I serged the ends because you can see that the selvage is fraying a little bit. And I'd seen another Minerva maker comment that she serged the selvage as well. And I think I'll do that in the future. I was very excited to sew with this because of the colors. And I know this is a little brighter than I typically go for, but I made myself a t-shirt out of a color similar to this. This is a little bit more orangey, but I loved it on myself. It was something that I stepped out and tried. So I thought this would be a good thing for wearing in the spring and summer. I did wonder about the weight of it and whether it would be too hot for my climate. And I'm very happy to report that I think this is going to be fantastic for wearing in the summer months. It's very light. The weave is not too tight. It's not too loose. I think it's going to be a beautiful dress. And I think it's going to work well for the Myosotis dress. That is a little bit oversized, though granted, the way I'm making it up, I think the bodice will be a little more fitted, maybe not too dissimilar to this Hinterland dress that I'm wearing now. This is the So Liberated Hinterland dress. So I'm so excited to get this sewn up, and this is what I'm going to be working on today. So today is Wednesday. I wasn't sure if I would have time to film Thursday and Friday for Friday Sews, so I thought I'd start today. I do plan to take my mother to lunch this afternoon. One of the local Anglican churches. It's a historical church, very pretty, very simple. They have a fundraiser in the spring, and for us, this is spring. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm also looking forward to getting up into sewing room. I did want to also mention that I washed this. I put it in the dryer in case, like I say, if anybody in the house thinks they're helping me by doing my laundry, I want to make sure that I'm going to get any shrinkage out of it. And look at this. I don't think it is wrinkled at all. I mean, a little bit, but I think I could clearly cut this out without having to iron all 4 meters of this. So that is a plus. Next week, Charlie and I are going to go visit John, Allie, and the boys, and I am bringing our oldest grandson a sewing machine. Now, the sewing machine will go back and forth with me because with the new baby coming, they do not need to have all the sewing things out. That could be dangerous. So one of the things I'm going to do this week, in addition to working on my Easter dress, is I'm going to cut out a tote bag. I think I'm going to install a little zipper pocket. If I have time, I'll film a tutorial for how to do that. I was talking with Izzy this past week, and there's no reason not to put a zipper pocket inside a bag. Secure your wallet, your bank card, your phone a little bit better, and it's not difficult. It looks so nice, it's so handy, and if I have time this week, I'll show you. And if I don't have time this week, I'll do it at another time. You can tell by my change of clothes that I did not have time to finish and upload last week's video. So I'm coming to you today. I'm just wearing a ready to wear t-shirt and my Saturday skirt. I'm gonna try to take a photo of all of this together. I love this light apricot with the ice dye fabric. Very nice. And I got a couple of unsolicited compliments from strangers today, which always makes you feel like you made a good choice. I wanted to come on and tell you my grandson's reaction to a sewing machine. I have been anticipating giving him this sewing machine for months. We weren't able to get together in December because they were sick. Then in January, we tried again, and there was a terrible ice storm between our house and their house. And so finally we made it happen. We came in with the sewing machine. He was so excited and thankful for it. Wanted to sew right away. I did cut out the tote bag before I got there, but he did all of the sewing, and I wish I would have remembered to take a photo. I'm gonna get the kids to send me one. I'll share it later, but I was very conscious of being in the moment with the grandchildren. I took no photos of them. I mean, they're gonna take away my grandparent card. But the really satisfying thing was the second day of our sewing. As we were starting our sewing session, he sat down at the sewing machine and was getting ready to put his work under the machine. He just said, out of the blue, "This is the best present I've ever gotten." And he followed it up with, "Nintendo's great, but that's just a screen. A sewing machine? That means sewing. This is the best." Oh my goodness. They were so excited and have been wanting that video game for a long time. And for the sewing machine to top that as a gift, I felt really good about it. And I shared that good feeling with Charlie as well. The tote bag came out beautifully, as I said. I was so impressed by his seam allowance being so consistent. He only had to unpick a very little bit. And I let him do all of the sewing. The only thing I did prior to going to their home was I cut out the tote bag and I did put in a zippered pocket in the lining. Just that would have been too much to try to do in a weekend and not a task to do the first time you are ever sewing all by yourself. But he had his little hands under the machine and was very careful. I told him to go slow. And I did not know that my sewing machine, I gave him my first sewing machine, I didn't know that it could go that slow. He followed directions very well, and he's already thinking of the next thing he wants to sew. He told me that his next project, he wants to make a hat for his sister. His sister's due in about 5 or 6 weeks. And he said, very particular, he said, I want to make her a strawberry hat. So maybe we could get some red fabric and some green fabric for the leaves and make her a hat that looks like a strawberry. He definitely has the sewing bug, and I'm so happy to be sharing that with him. And you may be able to tell from my voice that my middle grandson shared something with me. I've got a little bit of a cold, and I am not working on my Easter dress today. I didn't do much sewing yesterday. I did just little tasks. I think I put in my buttonholes and used a frayed check and thought, okay, I need to stop. And I didn't do anything on the dress today because I knew that my mind was not set. It's a pretty straightforward dress, the Myosotis dress, but it's beautiful and it's coming out so well. I don't want to mess it up by sewing sick. So hopefully I'll feel like doing a little sewing tomorrow. I'm going to save all my energy for that. Forget cooking dinner and all the other things I typically do. If I can get a little sewing done, I think it'll do me some good. I'd love to know what you're working on and what's been bringing you joy in the sewing room. I'll see you soon.